Welcome back, 7th grade scholars. I'm Ms. Whitaker, and I'm excited to have you join me for another math lesson. Let's get started. Let's review the You Try questions from yesterday's lesson. Check your answers. Take some time to see what you did differently. If you answer any of the questions incorrectly, then correct your answers. So I'm going to go through how to graph the line given a point and the slope. So step one, you would plot the point given to you. So we're going to plot -3, 5 on the graph. Start at the origin, you will move 3 units to the left on the x-axis and then 5 units up on the y. So 1, 2, 3 left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is your initial point. Okay? Once you have your initial point, you can then try to come up with rise over run directions. So look at your slope. If it's not in fraction form, you are going to make it a fraction. But number one, slope is already in fraction form. Okay? -5 over 3. -5 represents the change in y, and +3 represents the change in x. So if -5 represents the change in y, then you will move down towards the negative numbers on the y-axis. +3 represents the change in x, therefore you will move right towards the positive numbers on the x-axis. Okay? So now that we have our directions, we can plot the rest of the points. You're going to move down from the point you were given, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3 to the right. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, 1, 2, 3 to the right. Plot your point. Okay? And if you want to plot points above the initial point, you will go in the opposite direction. So instead of going 5 down, 3 right, you're going to go 5 up, 3 left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, 1, 2, 3 left. So at this point, you should have grabbed your straight edge or your ruler and connected your dots. Okay, so this graph or this line is a straight line going through the origin, which means this is a graph of a proportional relationship. Number 2. They give us the point -2, 4, and your slope was originally just -2 by itself, but you already know you should turn this whole number into fraction form. To do that, all you do is place it over 1. From there, you can determine your directions. -2 represents the change in y, therefore you will move down 2 towards the negative numbers on the y-axis. +1 represents the change in x, therefore you will move to the right towards the positive numbers on the y-axis. Okay? So start off by plotting the point they give you, -2, 4. Start at the origin, move 2 to the left, and 1, 2, 3, 4 up. Okay? After that, follow your directions. So from your original point, you're going to go 2 down, 1 to the right. 1, 2 down, 1 to the right. So 1, 2 down, 1 to the right. 1, 2 down, 1 to the right, 1, 2 down, 1 to the right, 1, 2 down, 1 to the right, and so on and so forth. If you want to apply points above the initial point, then you are going to go in the opposite direction. So instead of going 2 down, 1 right, you're going to go 2 up, 1 left. So 2 up, 1 to the left, plot your point. 2 up, 1 to the left, plot your point. At this point, once you have plotted all the points you want to, you are then going to use your straight edge or ruler to connect the dots and create your line. And this is also representative of a proportional relationship because it goes through the what? If you say origin, you are correct. So number 3, they give you the point -1, -3. To graph that, start at the origin, move 1 place or 1 unit to the left, and down 3. Okay? Okay? And then they give you the slope of 3. You need to turn it into a fraction by placing that 3 over a 1. And from there, you can find your rise over run directions. So 3 represents your change in y. Therefore, you're going to move up 3 because 3 is positive. 1 represents your change in x. Therefore, you're going to move to the right 1 unit because the 1 is positive. Okay? So let's do that. From your original point, move up 1, 2, 3. And then 1 to the right. 1, 2, 3, then 1 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 1 to the right. If you want to plot points underneath this point, go in the opposite direction. So instead of going 3 up, 1 right, you will go 3 down, 1 left. 1, 2, 3 down, 1 to the left. 1, 2, 3 down, 1 to the left. Okay? From there, connect your dots, create your line. And this is the graph of a proportional relationship because it creates a straight line going through the origin. Okay, last question. They give you the point 0, 0. That is the origin. From there, you're going to use your slope of -1/4 to complete your graph. So -1 represents the change in y. Therefore, you're going to go down on the y-axis. Okay. +4 represents your change in x. Therefore, you will move right on the x-axis because the 4 is positive. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. Move down 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. And to plot points above your initial point, you go in the opposite direction. So instead of going 1 down, 4 right, you go 1 up, 4 left. So up 1 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Up 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 left. From there, you should have used your straight edge or your ruler to create the line. And yes, this is the graph of a proportional relationship because it goes through the origin. So let's move on to the lesson for today. What are we doing today? We will learn how to graph a line representing a proportional relationship between two quantities given the equation of the line in the form y equals mx, where m represents the slope as a rate of change. Materials needed for today's lesson. You need a pencil, you need paper, preferably graph paper, and a ruler or a straight edge. Write down your notes, solve your guided practice problems, and your you try problems in your notebook. If you have access to a printer, you can print out slides 7 through 9, full page slides, and use those sheets to follow along with the lesson. The vocabulary for today is the same vocabulary from our first lesson. From week 4, day 1. So if you need a more in-depth review on the vocabulary, then you can go to that video, but they are also in this video, displayed in this video for your reference. So today we're going to learn how to graph a line given the equation y equals mx. Yesterday we learned how to graph a line given a point and the slope. Today we're going to use y equals mx. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to read the steps and then we're going to go more in depth when we go through the actual examples. Step 1, if the slope is not already in fraction form, turn it into a fraction. Step 2, start at the origin, 0, 0. Step 3, plot the slope using rise over run directions. Step 4, to plot points underneath of the point given, use the opposite directions of your rise over run. Okay? So example 1, y is equal to 4x. 4 is our slope. Therefore, we need to turn this into a fraction. We do that by placing 4 over 1. You can turn any whole number into a fraction by placing it over 1. So from there, we can find our rise over run directions. 4 represents change in y. Therefore, you are going to go up towards the positive numbers on the y-axis. So we're going to go 4 up. And then 1, positive 1, represents our change in x. Therefore, we are going to move to the right of the x-axis towards the positive numbers on the x-axis. Okay? So now we can attempt to plot our graph. So it says start at the origin. We're going to make a point. We're starting at the origin because y equals mx is representative of a proportional relationship. Therefore, you know your graph will go through the origin because it represents y equals mx represents a proportional relationship. So we are going to automatically make a point at the origin. From there, we're going to use our directions. So from the origin, you are going to move up 4, 1 right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 to the right. Make a point. 1, 2, 3, 4 up. 1 to the right. And to plot points underneath the original point, you are going to go in the opposite direction. So you're going to go 4 down, 1 left. So 1, 2, 3, 4 down, 1 to the left. Make a point. 1, 2, 3, 4 down, 1 to the left. Make a point. At this point, you can grab your ruler or your straight edge and connect the dots. Example number 2. They give us the equation y is equal to y is equal to negative 1/2 x. So here you are going to determine your rise over run directions because it's already in, the slope is already in fraction form. Please note that sometimes, a lot of times, the slope will not be written like this. It could be written, so when it's written like this, because you can definitely see it like this, you can choose which number you want to be negative, but only choose one number. It does not matter which one you choose, just make sure you only choose one to be negative, and you will create the same graph. You will end up with the same graph when you do that. Okay? So example number 2, we have positive 1 representing our change in y. So therefore we're going to move 1 1 up. Okay, and then we have -2 representing the change in x. So therefore, you're going to move 2 to the left towards the negative numbers on the x-axis. Okay. Try to write this better. Barely. Okay, that's better. We're going to move 2 left. Okay, so our directions for example 2 is 1 up, 2 left. Okay, so we'll start at the origin. When they give you the equation y equals mx, you know it's going to be proportional because this represents a proportional relationship. So start at 0, start at the origin, 0, 0, and then you're going to move 1 up, 2 to the left. 1 up, 1, 2 to the left. One up, 2 to the left. 1 up, 2 to the left. 1 up, let's do it one more time. 2 to the left. Okay, so to plot points underneath their original point, you're going to go in the opposite direction. So that's 1 down, 2 right. 1 down, 2 to the right. 1 down, 2 to the right. 1 down, 2 to the right. And you can keep going if you want, but this is enough points to create our line. So grab your ruler or straight edge and connect the dots. And we have graphed a line for the equation y equals 1 over -2. I'm sorry. The equation y equals 1 over -2x. Okay? So at this point, you are going to attempt to do some independent practice. You have 4 problems to complete. Again, you are going to graph a line that represents the equation given, and you are going to graph the line that represents the equation given. Okay? After you are finished, you are going to complete 2 Dreambox lessons. And remember, you try answers will be displayed in tomorrow's lesson. All right, people, that's all I have for today. I'll see you in the next lesson.